Prabhupada gives instructions how to conduct one's Krishna consciousness. Okay, let's start. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radhakantha Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. This is the book. All of you have the book, Nectar of Instruction. This is Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's. Okay. Is there anyone in the class who does not have the book? Soft copy or hard copy, whatever form?
We have Mataji.
So people who have raised hands don't have the books. Madhu Mataji, Sri Lakshmi, Channa, Jai Shri, Khushbu Mataji.
I don't have the book, Mataji.
I also don't have.
Yes, ma'am. I don't have Mataji.
I don't have.
I also don't have.
Okay, so okay, thank you. So we'll share the link in another. My Pandav Sena admins, can you please share the link? Wait.
Yes, Mataji.
Just wait. I will share it because this is another kind of font. The one that I shared before was Prabhupada's original typewritten form. This is another kind. This is Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's Samadhi in Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. It is still there, like this, the photograph. So we'll pray to Rupa Goswami Prabhupada for his mercy so we can understand his instructions in conducting our Krishna consciousness. So please keep yourself muted. Thank you. Okay, so I will try to start. We'll start with the preface. I will read the preface. I have slides to present here and there, but those slides are not copyrighted. They are copyrighted. They are my Bhakti Shastri slides, so I can't share them right now. So you can just look at it, and the most important thing is let's just read it. So I will read the preface and then I'll share something. The Krishna consciousness movement is conducted under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami. The Gaudiya Vaishnavas or Bengali Vaishnavas are mostly followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of whom the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan are direct disciples. Therefore, Srila Narottama Das Thakur has sung, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Kabi Hama Bujabe Se Yugala Piriti. When I am eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to bestow upon human society the benediction of the science of Krishna. The most exalted of all the activities of Lord Krishna are his pastimes of conjugal love with the gopis. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the mood of Srimati Radharani, the best of the gopis. Therefore, to understand the mission of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and follow in his footsteps, one must very seriously follow the footsteps of six Goswamis. 6 Goswamis are Shri Rupa, Sanatana, Bhatta Raghunath, Shri Jiva, Gopal Bhatt and Das. So Gopal Bhatt and Dasa Raghunath. Shri Rupa Goswami was the leader of all the Goswamis, and to guide our activities, he gave us this Upadeshamrita, the nectar of instruction to follow. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left behind his 8 verses known as Shikshashtaka. Rupa Goswami gave us Upadeshamrita so that we may become pure Vaishnavas. So this is the purpose of Upadeshamrita, so that we can become pure Vaishnavas. In all spiritual affairs, one's first duty is to control his mind and senses. First duty. We cannot be called as a spiritualist if I'm doing anything against the principles of Rupa Goswami. Unless one controls his mind and senses, one cannot make any advancement in spiritual life. Very, very clear instruction. No confusion. Maybe, perhaps, probable. These words are not used. Okay, must and cannot make a if the mind and senses are not controlled, then not a spiritualist. Everyone within this material world is engrossed in the modes of passion and ignorance. One must promote himself to the platform of goodness, Sattva Guna, by following the instructions of Rupa Goswami. And then everything concerning how to make further progress will be revealed. So this is a process of revelation. It's not the process that I can study 10 books and I will be a scholar. No. I can study 10 books, but I may still not know anything. Krishna will still remain hidden. So it's a process of revelation. Advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. Okay, this is very important. The advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the follower. If I don't have a right attitude, if I am reading because I want to become a scholar, because I want to memorize few things here and there, or because I want to defeat other philosophers in arguments, then no, I'm not getting advanced in Krishna consciousness. A follower of Krishna consciousness movement should become a perfect Goswami. So this is the instruction given. Jigna Mataji, I'm not able to mute you. Can you see what's happening? Thank you. A follower of Krishna consciousness movement should become a perfect Goswami. Vaishnavas are generally known as Goswamis. In Vrindavan, this is the title by which the director of each temple is known. One who wants to become a perfect devotee of Krishna must become a Goswami. Go means senses and Swami means the master. Unless one controls his senses and mind, one cannot become a Goswami. Okay, so Go means senses and Swami means master. So one who is the master of the senses, not the servant of the senses. To achieve the highest success in life by becoming a Goswami and then a pure devotee of Lord, one must follow the instructions known as Upadeshamrita, which have been given by Srila Rupa Goswami. Srila Rupa Goswami has given many other books such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Vigadagada Madhava and Lalita Madhava. But Upadeshamrita constitutes the first instruction for neophyte devotees. One should follow these instructions very strictly. Then it will be easier to make one's life successful. Hare Krishna. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, September 20th, 1975, Vishwarupa Mahotsav, Krishna Balram Mandir, Raman Reti Vrindavan. Okay, so I'll summarize what Srila Prabhupada wrote here. That this is a little bit about Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada was born in 1489 in Brahmin Saraswati family. He was a chief secretary for Nawab Hussain Shah. He was born in a Brahmin Saraswati family, but because he took the service to Mohammedan, they were outcasted, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. So they were outcasted from the so-called Hindu society. And they even changed their names. Shakir Murli and Dabir Khash. So, but when they came in touch with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made them Goswamis again. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami are brothers. Okay, so they were very, very scholarly, very scholarly. They spoke Arabic, Persian, Sanskrit, Hindi, and they were very intellectual, and they were Mandalapati. Mandalapati means leaders of the society. They were not something that had nothing else to do, so let me do Krishna consciousness. No, they left everything to do Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami Prabhupada met Lord Chaitanya and Rama Keli, and then the meeting was at Prayag, Dham Shastra. So Prayag is also called as living Shastra. It's a very auspicious place to conduct Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami is called as Rasacharya. Rasacharya means he explains this conjugal love, or 5 rasas between the living entity and Krishna in detail. His worshipable deity is Govindji. He wrote Upadeshamrita, Vigadagda Madhava, Lalita Madhava, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And Srila Prabhupada used to stay at Radha Damodar temple near to Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's Samadhi. he used to pray to Rupa Goswami Prabhupada Samadhi every day. When you go to Vrindavan next, please visit. So there are 11 verses. First 3 verses are establishing a foundation for advancement in bhakti. Then how to engage in sadhu sangha, 4 to 6 verse. Then verse 7 to 8 is engaging the tongue and mind in chanting about and remembering Krishna. 9 to 11 is best devotees and best places for bhajan. Okay, so this is the overview. So preface, we studied Rupa Nugas. We are called as Rupa Nugas in ISKCON because we follow and study Goswamis and understand bhakti through them and not imagine or concoct. And Prabhupada clearly said in the preface that unless and until one comes to Satyaguna, there is no question of becoming a Goswami. Okay, and Goswami is also a stepping stone to the transcendence, to become a pure devotee. And elevation in Krishna consciousness depends on the follower's attitude. Okay, so let's read the first verse. Let me increase the font. These are 6 instructions of how one can become a Goswami. First verse gives us the 6 instructions how one can become a Goswami. Who would like to read? Tanvi Mataji, go ahead, please.
Okay, Mataji. Just a minute. Vacho vegam manasah krodha vegam jiva vegam udaropastha vegam etan vegan yo vishaheta dhiraha sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyata.
Very nice. We'll chant one more time. Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jiva vegam udharupastha vegam etan vegan yo vishaheta dhira sarvam apimam prithvim sashishyat. Very nice verse. Go ahead, Mataji.
Translation: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Purport: in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.1.9 to 10, Parikshit Maharaj placed a number of intelligent questions before Sukadev Goswami. One of these questions was, why do people undergo atonement if they cannot control their senses? For instance, a thief may know perfectly well that he may be arrested for his stealing, and he may actually even see a thief arrested by the police, yet he continues to steal. Experience is gathered by hearing and seeing. One who is less intelligent gathers experience by seeing, and one who is more intelligent gathers experience by hearing. When an intelligent person hears from the law books and shastras or scriptures that stealing is not good and hears that a thief is punished when arrested, he refrains from theft. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, what is the benefit of such atonement? Thus, Parikshit Maharaj inquired, Drishta Shrutabhyam Yat Papam Gyanan Api Atmano Hitam Karoti Bhuyo Vivashaha Prayashchitam Atho Katham Kwachin Nivartate Bhadrat Kwachich Charati Tat Punaha Prayashchittam Atho Paratham Mane Kunjara Sochvat. He compared atonement to an elephant's bathing. The elephant may take a very nice bath in the river, but as soon as it comes onto the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What then is the value of its bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that their chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one can commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Namno Baladiyashyahi Papa Buddhihi, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over and Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This kind of prayaschitta or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Sukadev Goswami, equally intelligent as befitting the spiritual master of Maharaj Parikshit, answered the king and confirmed that his statement concerning atonement was correct. A sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Thus, real Prayaschitta atonement is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Mataji, let's wait. Thank you. Very nice. So this uh, explanation is divided into 6 parts. Srila Prabhupada first talks about atonement. If we read Vacho Vegam, Vegam means to control. What do we have to control? To control the urge to speak. First urge to control is speech. Manasa Krodha Vegam. Manasa means control the urge of the mind and control the urge of anger. Jiva Vegam. Jiva means tongue. Control the urge of the tongue. Udharo Pasta Vegam. This is all in a straight line. Srila Prabhupada explains later in the purport that Jiva and then Udharo means belly and Apastha means genitals. So if the tongue is controlled, then the urges of the belly and genitals are automatically controlled. So the first urge is urge to speech. Everybody wants to speak, no one wants to hear. I think one devotee was saying, Ram Guru Mataji, we have a ratio, 2 ears and 1 mouth. So means we have to hear more than we speak. But the urge to speak is so urge to speak is so prominent in the society that it actually leads one living entity from one life to another life, or from one kind of a body to another kind of a body. Okay, etan vegan yo vishahe tadhira. Who can control all these urges can actually make the disciples all over the world, not anybody else. A sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, actions of anger, urges of tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So this is a qualification of a guru. Okay, we cannot just make a guru because I am sentimentally attached to some statement they made or they showed me some magical feat. No, these are the qualifications. And Prabhupada wants each one of us to become like this. This is Parikshit Maharaj in 6th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. This is just before the chapter of Ajamila. Second chapter, 6th canto, Ajamila story starts. Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukdev Goswami that what is the use of the atonement which actually does not lead to the cleanliness of the heart. Heart doesn't get clean. The main concept is prayaschitta is, okay, I did something wrong, and then I will go and I'll do some pious activity, so it will nullify the effect of my impious activity. Yes, it will. But will it give me the purification of the heart and guarantee that I will not do the impious activity once again? No, it does not. So who will tell me what are the 3 ways of acquiring knowledge? I have spoken time and again. 3 ways of acquiring knowledge. You can raise your hands. So not the people who are chanting, someone else. Dyuti Mataji. Yes, Mataji. Dyuti Mataji.
Hare
Go
Krishna
ahead.
Mataji. Mataji, as far I remember, Guru, Shastras, and another thing you said. Don't remember.
Those are the 3 evidences for 3 ways of acquiring knowledge. Thank you,
Okay,
Mataji.
Mataji. So sorry. Thank you,
Like
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sirisha Satyavada Mataji. Mataji, your voice is not clear.
Shravanam
The three ways of
Kirtanam.
receiving
Mataji.
knowledge are: first is Pratyaksha Praman.
What is
Hare.
Prataksha? Yes, Pradesh Prataksha Praman.
First is Pratyaksha Praman, seeing is believing. Second is Anuman Praman, estimating. And third is Shabda Praman, hearing is good.
Who is
From
talking?
hearing. Gaining knowledge from these three.
This is not
Sirisha Mataji.
Oh, Sirisha Mataji, okay. Thank you. Yes, very nice. So the three ways of acquiring knowledge are Prataksha Praman, seeing is believing, and the other way is Anuman Praman, estimating, and the other way is Shruti Praman, or hearing. Okay, so the best way of, or the more intelligent person gathers experience by hearing from the authority. But Prabhupada is giving so many analogies. He's using the analogy of a thief to explain how atonement is not purificatory. That a thief may know that this is illegal to conduct a theft. He may have heard it. He may have even seen it. He's himself aware also, but we still can't stop. And he may be punished also, but still can't stop. So even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of the jail. Why? You just wasted your life in sitting in the jail and in the four walls and doing so many things inside there. Why do you have to steal again? Because the heart is not purified. The heart is the center where all these misgivings are seated. Krishna consciousness is the process of purification of the heart. And then Prabhupada gives another analogy of, so you must make a note of these analogies. When we read Prabhupada books, we make note of analogies. Elephants bathing. The elephant takes such a long bath in the river and looks sparkling clean when it comes out. But the minute it comes out, it throws dirt all over its body again. So that kind of a hasti snan or manye kunjara sauchavad. This kunjara sauchavad means the path of an elephant is not beneficial, right? So many spiritual practitioners, they may chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, but thinking that Hare Krishna Mahamantra is going to counteract my offenses or my sinful activities is the biggest kind of sin. So this is the seventh offense to the holy name of the Lord, committing sinful activities on the strength of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Namno balad yasyahi papa buddhi. This is the most abominable kind of an offense that one can commit against the holy name. That, oh, let me go and commit this sinful activity. Anyway, I will chant one extra round and I will be fine. No. Most abominable. A person will never become Krishna conscious. This kind of prashchita or atonement is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj. So a sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. So what will counteract a sinful activity? Please tell me. You can raise your hand. I'm sorry I force muted all of you because there were too many. You can raise your hand. What will Zoom user? Hare Krishna.
When the person realizes Mataji.
Is it
So,
Dharneshwari Mataji?
yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Oh. When the person realizes what, Mataji?
The mistake. So that will stop actually.
When the person realizes the mistake. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else? Reshma Mataji. You can unmute yourself, Reshma Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Chanting the holy name and surrendering to the spiritual master, having a guru.
So these processes will lead to what? Chanting the holy name of surrendering to a spiritual master will lead to the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Mataji.
So that will, thank you, Mataji. So that will lead to the real purification of the heart. What is the first prayer of Sikshashtaka? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left 8 prayers, right? First prayer, Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It's a very detailed process. Krishna consciousness forces us to take care of ourselves. It's not something very cheap. Cheto darpana marjanam means, darpan means mirror. Cheto means consciousness. Marjanam means clean. Clean the mirror of your consciousness. First benediction of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra is Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Then second, Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Then Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Then Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Then Anandam Buddhivardhanam. Then Anandam Buddhivardhanam Kripat Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Vidyavadhu Jivanam. Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. First verse itself has 7 benedictions. First benediction is that the heart becomes clean. A Krishna conscious person will not like to kill anyone unnecessarily. The Krishna conscious person is not trying to be a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Krishna conscious person is trying to see everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. They will automatically not kill anyone. Automatically. Okay, automatically they will not indulge in sinful activities. Automatically they will not drink liquor or smoke weed. Automatic. Why? Because the goal is different. Because the heart is getting purified. Okay, so still Prabhupada is going to talk about atonement. Then Prabhupada will talk about speech. I think we can go ahead. Sapna, you wanted to read, right? Is she here?
Hare
Sapna,
Krishna.
you can unmute. Hi, Krishna.
From where, Mataji?
Real atonement involves?
Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya. One can be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge or Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind, by controlling the senses, by giving up one's possession in charity, by being avowedly truthful, by keeping clean, and by practicing yoga asanas. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the occasion of a pure devotee, he can easily surpass all the practices for controlling the mind by the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principle of Krishna consciousness, refraining from illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami.
Yeah, just break here. Thank you. You speak little fast, right? Your voice is very sweet though. So Prabhupada is giving that regular process that people adopt to become Krishna conscious. But one has to have a life full of tapasya. Without the methodical life, we cannot just attain any goal. Forget about Krishna consciousness. Even if I leave Krishna consciousness on side, I still will not be attain any goal. Any goal in my life cannot be attained if I am not austere. If I want to become something in my life, we teach our children, right? Have a discipline. So discipline is important, and this discipline is actually very, very sweet. It's not that we have to be awake late night. Oh, we have to refrain from eating nice food or dancing or singing, everything. But the main process, one can be gradually elevated by doing all these things. Austerity and celibacy, which is brahmacharya, number 1. Number 2, controlling the mind. Number 3, controlling the senses. Number 4, giving up one's possession in charity. So charity actually purifies the existence of a living entity. Number 5, being avowedly truthful. And number 6, keeping clean. And number 7, by practicing yoga asanas. But if one gets the association of a pure devotee, these all things can happen in a moment. That is the importance of the verse, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Even a little bit of a moment association with the pure devotee can actually give all perfection to a living entity. It's very powerful. We don't believe in it. People get bored by these discussions, but for us, we relish nectar again and again, again and again. Really, like pure devotee, I will never leave a pure devotee. Once I get a pure devotee shelter, don't leave. Don't leave Srila Prabhupada. And that is why these are the four regulatory principles of freedom. These are not the four regulatory principles of bondage. Prabhupada says, I'm trying to pull up in second chapter Bhagavad Gita, that these are the four regulatory principles of freedom. I have to look up where. Does anyone remember who was reading second chapter with me? Where Prabhupada says in second chapter that these are the four regulatory principles of freedom. Anyway, I'll look up. So, what are the four regulatory principles? No illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. And engage in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. This is essential. We need a teacher. Teacher needs to teach us how to do it. This easy process is being recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Now Prabhupada is going to talk about Vacho Vegam. Okay, so far he spoke about atonement. That atonement, superficial atonement, is not going to be beneficial. He also gave example of a person going to church and confessing, and then again on Sunday starting the again sinful activity. Now we'll talk about how we can purify our existence. Sunita Mataji, you want to read? You can unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
First, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, just a moment, Mataji.
Prabhupada, whenever I read this clicks in my head. First, one must control his speaking power. First. This is first. Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Every one of us has the power of speech. As soon as we get an opportunity, we begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak about all sorts of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all he has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites the snake. Please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The talking of materialistic men and impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence. The external process of mauna, as Mayavadi philosophers think. Silence may appear helpful for some time, but ultimately it proves a failure. The meaning of controlled speech conveyed by Srila Rupa Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. The tongue can thus glorify the name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. The restlessness or fickleness of the mind, manovega, is controlled when one can fix his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22.31 says, Krishna Surya Sama, Mayahaya Andakara, Yahan Krishna Tahan Nahi, Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is just like the sun, and Maya is just like darkness. If the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, there is no possibility of the mind's being agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of negating all material thoughts will not help. To try to create a vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum will not remain. However, if one always thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one's mind will naturally be controlled.
Yes, Mataji, let's take us. So he Prabhupada spoke about two things, Vacho Vegam and Manasa Vegam. Vacho Vegam means speaking power, control the speaking power. Prabhupada is giving an analogy of a toad that whenever we go to any, like I don't go here, but when I'm back home, we go to family gatherings or any wedding ceremonies or any functions. There's so much noise there, right? There's so much like noise, but everybody is talking about something. Everybody, but what are they really talking? It really doesn't have anything to do with Krishna consciousness. So that kind of a speech is considered as analogy Srila Prabhupada giving is croaking of a toad. So when in the rainy season, when the toads are croaking, they're actually inviting the snake that come and eat me. So materialistic men talking or impersonalist Mayavadi philosopher is compared to croaking of a toad, because it doesn't lead to the ultimate benefit of the soul. So it's so much seriousness the Shastras are telling us. So much. We cannot be so lax about anything. Austerity means uh, being very, very vigilant and watchful about one's steps. What am I doing? We can catch ourselves. That what am I doing? Am I aligning myself and my day aligned in terms of the principles of Krishna consciousness, or am I getting deviated now? We can catch ourselves. There is one devotee, he said, when he read this, he was making a note in his notebook. How many times a day did he not talk about Krishna? Or how many times a day does his mind deviate here and there? So Vacho and Manasa Vegam. How many times? So serious. Their devotees are so serious that I'm trying to be a controller of my senses, and here I am becoming again and again succumb to the demands of the mind and senses. So controlling speech, however, does not mean that one should just fall silent. So he's saying two things. One thing is that the talking of impersonalist Mayavadi or talking of materialistic man is compared to a toad croaking, which means just inviting the death. But it doesn't mean that fall silent. Don't speak. That is not going to help in the long run. Then what will help? What will help is talk about Krishna. How can we talk about Krishna? This is very nicely explained in Nectar of Devotion. Naam Leela, form is Rupa Leela, qualities is Guna Leela, pastimes is Nam Guna Leela, and I'm sorry, what is it? Nama is name, Nam, form is Rupa, qualities is Guna, pastimes is Leela. Sorry, so these are the four things we can engage ourselves in talking about Krishna. Each one is very detailed. Here only instruction is given. Nectar of Devotion, chapters after chapters are given. So name is Nam. Krishna can be spoken, or Krishna can be thought in the form of his name, in the form of his form, which is Rupa, in the form of his qualities, which is Guna, in the form of his pastimes, which is Lila of the Lord. The preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. Such a big benediction. No one talks like this. I have never heard anyone talk or read anything that talks like this. Preacher of Krishna Katha is always beyond the clutches of death. This is the significance of controlling the urge to speak. Just because I'm going to watch myself with the what I'm talking about, I'll be beyond the clutches of death. People are doing so many austerities to become elevated to heavenly planets, to taste Soma Rasa, so they can have a prolonged duration of life. Here is Srila Rupa Goswami saying, control the urge of death, or control the urge of speech, and you will be beyond the clutches of death. These are not theories. This is not theory. At least for a serious practitioner, it is not a theory. You practice it every day in everyone's house. They can talk about Krishna at least in the morning and in the evening. Sayam Prataha. Prabhupada explains in first canto, third chapter. Sayam means evening, Pratah means morning. Talk about Krishna, just morning and evening. So Prabhupada gave power-packed program. Morning discussed one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Evening discussed one verse of Bhagavad Gita. All the family gathered together and do it. No one is going to go in the clutches of death. That's first. Second instruction is fickleness of the mind. So manovegam. So mind has to be controlled. Mind has a, what is the function of the mind? What is the function of the mind? From Bhagavad Gita we studied. What is the function of the mind? Aishwarya.
Control the senses.
To control. Okay, thank you. Yes, very nice. What else? Vandana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, thinking, feeling, and willing.
Very nice. Yes, the function of the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. So 18th chapter we read this, Bhagavad Gita, that before an action is done in a gross manner, it is actually first performed in the mind. And I gave example of, let's say I want to go to the market, but I already plan it in the mind. What am I going to go there, right? So that action is already done in the subtle form before it comes out in the gross form. So the function of the mind is thinking, feeling, and willing. So think about Krishna, feel that I need to go progress my life and align my duties in Krishna consciousness, and willing, become determined. So one always think of Krishna, how to serve Krishna best. One's mind will naturally be controlled. Nothing will be able to enter into the mind. Nothing. All these diseases coming from more of ignorance, depression, anxiety, so many hallucinations, so many things. These are the products of mode of ignorance. Each mode has something to offer. Mode of ignorance gives rise to the diseases. And these are the diseases which come in the mind from being succumbed to the materialistic kind of life. So one elevates themselves by practice of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, associating with devotees, engaging the mind in service of Krishna. These things will go away. Okay, now Prabhupada is going to talk about Krodha Vegam, anger can be controlled. Control, not suppressed or repressed, controlled. Okay. Madhurani Mataji, you wanted to read, and then Vibha will read. Madhurani Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shall I start from similarly?
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Similarly, anger can be controlled. We cannot stop anger altogether, but if we simply become angry with those who blaspheme the Lord or the devotees of the Lord, we control our anger in Krishna consciousness. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry with the miscreant brothers Jaggi and Madhai, who blasphemed the struck Nityananda Prabhu. In his in his Shastaka, Lord Chaitanya wrote, Tranda api sunisena tauror api sahismuna. One should be humbler than the grass and more tolerant than the tree. One may then ask why the Lord exhibited his anger. The point is that one should be ready to tolerate all insults to one's own self. But when Krishna or his pure devotees blaspheme, a genuine devotee becomes angry and acts like fire against the offenders. Krodha, anger, cannot be stopped, but it can be applied rightly. It was in anger that Hanuman set fire to Lanka, but he is worshipped as the greatest devotee of Lord Ramachandra. This means that he utilized his anger in the right way. Arjuna serves as another example. He was not willing to fight, but Krishna insisted anger. You must fight. To fight without anger is not possible. Anger is control, however, when utilized in the service of the Lord. As for the urges of the tongue, we all experience that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice, but should control the tongue by supplying prasada. The devotee's attitude is that he will eat only when Krishna gives him prasad. That is the way to control the urge of the tongue. One should take prasad and at scheduled times and should not eat in restaurants or sweet meat shops simply to satisfy the whims of the tongue or belly. If we stick to the principle of taking only prasad, the urges of the belly and tongue can be controlled. In a similar manner, the urges of the genitals, the sex impulses can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. The genitals should be used to beget a Krishna conscious child. Otherwise, they should not be used. The Krishna consciousness movement encourages marriage not for the satisfaction of the genitals, but for the begetting of Krishna conscious children. As soon as the children are a little grown up, they are sent to our Gurukula schools in Dallas, Texas, where they are trained to become fully Krishna conscious devotees. Many such Krishna conscious children are required, and one who is capable of bringing forth Krishna conscious offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. When one is fully practiced in the method of Krishna conscious control, he can become qualified to be a bona fide spiritual master.
Yes, Mataji, let's wait. Thank you. So urges. So we discussed about the urges of the speech, urges of mind, and third urge of the anger. This is where the Vaishnava Bhashya is differing from Mayavad Bhashya. The Vaishnava Bhashya says control. Impersonalists say repress or get rid of. No, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because the class is for 1.5 hours, Sita Mataji. So thank you though. So anger cannot be stopped altogether, but we have to engage the ability or the weapon of anger in the service of Lord. That is what a devotee can do. A devotee can control the urge, not succumb to the urge. The anger which arises from kama esha, krodha esha, lust, this unsatisfaction of the lust. And what is lust? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhupada describes. What is lust? Who's going to tell me? What does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhupada tell about lust in Chaitanya Chaitamrita? I have spoken many times.
Hare Krishna
must have.
Mataji.
Yes.
So any activity that I do which does not have Krishna in it is lust, and any activity that I do with Krishna, keeping Krishna in mind, is love.
Very nice. So, Atma Indriya Tripti Vancha Taro Nam Kam. Krishna Indriya Tripti Vancha Taro Nam Prem. Very simple. See how simple it is. That any activity that I do for the satisfaction of my own senses. You know, I have 10 saris and I want to buy 11th one. I don't need it, but I just want it. Need and want. So that is lust. Oh, there's a new restaurant opening. Let's go taste the food they're cooking without offering to Krishna. That is lust. Okay. Krishnendra Tipti Vancha Taranam Prem. Any activity which I do to satisfy Krishna is love. So similarly, anger, when it is used, the anger which is arising from the lust, which is kama esha, means the lust which is not satisfied, gives rise to krodha esha, anger. That anger has to be given up. Then what kind of anger can be taken? The anger which can be used in service of Krishna. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave example that the Jagai and Madai, when they were blaspheming Nityananda Prabhu and they struck him with the with a broken pot and blood came out, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was ferocious. He was very, very angry. He wanted to behead them. Why? Because they insulted a Vaishnava. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave a third instruction in Shikshashtakam. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna. Trinadapi sunichena means one should be more tolerant than a grass which is trampled under one's foot. So much tolerance. Tarorapi sahishnuna. One must tolerate against as a tree tolerates or against all the vices. So much tolerance he wants us to cultivate. But when it comes to the insult of a Vaishnava, he became like fire. One should be humbler than a grass and more tolerant than a tree. Amanina manadena. Next instruction goes like this, very hard. Amanina manadena means give respect to the person who doesn't even deserve respect. Kirtanya sadahari. In that mood, go on thinking about Krishna. What happens? I had this realization one time. What does it mean, amanina mandena? Because it is very difficult to give respect to someone, even mentally, if someone is not giving that to us. But why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this? I kept on thinking for many, many days. And one time I had this small realization. Oh, because it will save me time. What happens is that when we are contemplating and fault finding in another people, we go on chewing that thing, that this person is like this person is like that, this person is it. So we waste our time. This is where our time can be saved. That, oh, you are like this, okay, I'll pray to Krishna for you. But I must carry on with my own duties because my goal is different. Because I know that you are temporary, I am also temporary. Neither of us are going to stay. And I'm not going to succumb to something which is very, very temporary because I have a bigger goal. Why people are getting succumbed to these things? Because they don't have a goal. Krishna is not in their books. Death is in the book. So what is the use? What is the use of living a life like that? What is the use? We know there are 6 kinds of aggressors that we have to attack. Other than that, everyone just, put them on the side and put the goal in the forefront. Lead a life like that. Become very, very resilient in one's own self. Hanuman example is given and Arjuna's example is given, how they use their anger to serve Krishna. And urges of the tongue is very, very important to control. Bhakti Vinod Thakur Prabhupada talks about it a lot. Sharira avidya jal, jodi indriya tahe kal. So he says the body is a network of ignorance. Sharira avidya jal, network of ignorance. Jode indriya tahe kal is so many senses inside the body. Jiva fele vishya sagare. The tongue throws the jiva, the living entity, vishya sagare, in the ocean of nescience. The tongue is throwing a living entity in the ocean of nescience. Just contemplate. Bhaktivedanta Thakur is such a big exalted Vaishnava. He was a magistrate of Orissa. The British government made a railway from his home to the courthouse. So there are no delays in him reaching to the courthouse. He was such an expert. And he is an exalted devotee of Krishna. And he's writing this. Jiva fele vishya sagare. Tare madhe jiva ati. Lobho mai sudharmati. Each and every verse is powerful. So very important to control the urge of the tongue. If we are not controlling, if I am offering tongue anything and everything it wants, up to the level of eating animals, then where is Krishna? Where is Krishna there? So better to just eat food which is offered to Krishna. And when we control the tongue, the belly gets controlled. And genitals, and if the belly is controlled, the genitals are controlled. These are the secrets revealed in the Shastras that control the tongue. Tongue controls the belly, and control tongue and belly controls the urge of the genitals. We don't have to separately go and do some tapasya, like where were we reading? Vishwamitra, but still get agitated. No, it doesn't happen in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so Prabhupada says we can produce millions of children, but make sure that each one of them is becoming exalted devotee of Krishna. That's fine. So, who is practiced in controlling all 6 urges can become a bona fide spiritual master. Otherwise, don't accept anybody as a spiritual master. No. Person who is able to do all this is a spiritual master. Now, at the end of all these chapters, at least first 3 chapters, I remember, Prabhupada is going to talk about Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, his spiritual master's version of these instructions. So that's what we're going to read. In his Anuvritti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur writes that, who wanted to read? Vibha, you wanted to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead.
From where, Mataji?
In his Anuvritti explanation.
In his Anuvritti explanation of Upadeshamrita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes that our material identification creates 3 kinds of urges. The urge to speak, the urge or demands of the mind, and the demands of the body. When a living entity falls victim for these 3 types of urges, his life becomes inauspicious, and one who practices resisting these demands or urges is called tapasvi, or one who practices austerities. By such tapasya, one can overcome victimization by the material energy and the external potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When we refer to the urge to speak, we refer useless talking, such as that of the impersonal Mayavadi philosophers or of persons engaged in fruitive activities, technically called karma kanda, or of materialistic person who simply wants to enjoy life without restriction. All such talks or literature are practical exhibitions of urge to speak. Many people are talking nonsensically and writing volumes of useless books, and all this is the result of urge to speak. To counteract this tendency, we have to divert our talking to the subject of Krishna. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.10, 11th verse. Nayad vachas chitrapadam harer yasho jagat pavitram pragnita karahicit tadvayasam tirham ushanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramanti ushikshaha. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, and are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all perfect person are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Tadvag vishargo janataga viplavo yasmin prati shlokam abhaddavati api namani anantasya yasho nikitani yat shravanti gayanti granati sadhava. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, pastimes, etc. of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words directed towards bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literature, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. The conclusion is that only when we talk about the devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can we refrain from useless nonsensical talk. We should always endeavor to use our speaking power solely for the purpose of realizing Krishna consciousness. As for the agitations of the bickering mind, they are divided into 2 divisions. The first is called avirodha priti, or unrestricted attachment, and the other is called virodha yukta krodha, anger arising from frustration. Adherence to the philosophy of the Mayavadis, belief in the fruitive results of the Karmavadis, and belief in plants based in materialistic desires are called avirodha prati. Jnanis, karmis, and materialistic plan makers generally attract the attention of conditioned souls. But when the materialists cannot fill their plans, and when their devices are frustrated, they become angry, and the frustration of material desires produces anger.
Okay,
Similarly,
let's take a break here. Thank you. So, Srila Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada words are always a little difficult to understand. Prabhupada is very straightforward, but Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada is a very big philosopher. So Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada is saying that our material identification or false ego is fanned by these kind of urges. What is fanning or what is pumping the false ego of a living entity? These three things: urge to speak, urge or demand of the mind, and urge and demand of the body. So urge to speak. Okay, one who can control all these things, speech, mind, and bodily demands, can become a tapasvi or Goswami. Okay, and who writes like this can overcome victimization by the material energy, the external potency of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have to get rid of this victimization. Urge to speech, many things, not like just talking, but there's so much literature floating around in the world, which is not needed. So many newspapers, magazines, is not needed. We don't need to know about so many things, but they just come in appearance of our consciousness. Why? Because that is all an expression of unrestricted urge to speak. So important. But Narad Muni, first canto, 5th chapter, 10th and 11th verse, Narad Muni explains this, that those words which do not describe the glories of Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly person to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. That Vayasam Tirtham. So this Vayasam Tirtham means where the crows can take pleasure. That is what it is described. I have an experience. So people think that Srimad Bhagavatam is not going to solve their problem of life. And what are the problems of life? I don't have a well-paying job, or I have a problem with my relationship with my family member, or my back is hurting, or something. So how will Srimad Bhagavatam solve those problems? This is what we come across when we are preaching. So how does it solve the problem? Tell me. Who will tell me that how will it solve the problems of life? Srimad Bhagavatam, how will it solve? Srisha Mataji answered. Anyone else? How will Srimad Bhagavatam solve? Vandana Mataji also answered, I think. Vandana Mataji, you answered one time, right? Ramanish Mataji, go ahead.
By chanting, Mataji.
How
Hare
will it
Krishna.
solve the problem? Yes, how?
By chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, that is nice. But if you're preaching to someone and you say, okay, you just chant Hare Krishna, your problems will be solved. So you have to share your realization. You're correct. You're not wrong. You're correct. But I just want to hear more empowerment. That how? Because people are saying Srimad Bhagavatam is, there is no need to have Srimad Bhagavatam in one's house. The house which doesn't have Srimad Bhagavatam, what is the use of living in such a house? I don't understand.
Yeah, we should do good deeds, not hurting anyone.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Jai Mata.
Hare Krishna, very nice. She's right. Her answer is right. The chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, everything is going to be aligned. But I want to hear a little bit more. Who did I request to unmute? I forgot. Oh, Shashi Prasad Prabhu is here. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. You can.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sorry, Mataji. Yeah, see, now when in Bhagavad Gita they say that be happy, don't get excited. Even if it is good, don't accept it. If it is bad, don't get depressed. So we need to maintain the samadhi state of our mind. It means that you're accepting as is, whatever it may be. In that case, you're accepting every step of your life and going forward. So that can be of help.
That's very nice. It's a nice realization. Yes, that's a practical application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madhavi Mataji, yes, then I want to finish this chapter. We have 4 more
Yeah,
pages.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think that in Srimad Bhagavatam, what I have read, very little I have read, but what I've read is there are people who are asking a lot of questions, like sages are asking, King Parikshit is asking, so many questions, and those questions are being answered by Srila Suta Goswami ji. So in those answers, we learn the basic principles of how we can live our life and how we can go towards Krishna consciousness and all that. So these questions come to our mind, but there's no realized soul who can answer. But if we get to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam from a devotee, or if we read, because reading is difficult, we don't understand properly. If we get it explained from people like you or from devotees and all that, because I've read and there are certain things that I'm having some perplexities about. So I'm sharing my experience with you. So when you hear and all that, then those answers which are given by those, and it explains completely as to how one person has to live his life following the religious principles and how he can do Krishna consciousness. So I think because of that, Srimad Bhagavatam is a very good source, apart from chanting, because people chant Hare Krishna and they feel miracle will happen. But as you said, miracles cannot happen only by chanting. You have to know exactly how to live your life and what are the problems that we are facing and how those problems will be solved. To some extent, I mean to a large extent, Srimad Bhagavatam has answers to this. If we read it and read it and read it again and again, we can't read it only once. We have to read it and practice it. That is what I think, Mataji. I don't know whether I'm right.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, lift a living entity from the bodily conception of life. The problems are because of bodily conception of life, right? I don't have a job. So what will happen? I will not have money. So who will suffer? Body and mind will suffer, right? So other person is giving me trouble. Somebody is not being nice to me. When the other person is not nice to the people, actually they are committing violence to their own self rather than committing violence to someone else. They're living an inauspicious life by themselves. So we give what we have. So that's what they have. Why? Because their goal is not Krishna, but your goal can be Krishna. Why are we giving into the lower modes of nature? So Krishna consciousness gives us a vision that this is a lower mode. Is it in alignment with my goals? No. Then what should I do? If it is possible to tolerate, then tolerate. If it is not possible to tolerate, then set an example. One of the two things can happen. We can set an example. If I don't like the way the person is leading a life, then I can set an example of how to lead a Krishna conscious life. I can get up early in the morning. I can chant. I can cook tasty meals. And that by offering that person tasty meal, that person's consciousness will also change. Na? Jiva starts from tongue. So my friend Neela Madhurya, she took girls class one time. I don't know if the girls remember Sadhu Sangha. She said that she and her husband were serving in Czech Republic, right? She's from Czech Republic in Russia, and there were some people who had come to. She and her husband had gone to cook in some outside program, and there was this pastor who had come with his wife to this particular public library program or something like that. So he knew that these people are from Hare Krishna, so he did not want to eat what they were cooking. Neela Madhurya is an amazing cook. She said she made a cake, very nice cake, beautiful cake, decorated very nicely, and offered to Krishna and brought it out for everyone to have. The pastor was saying, I am not going to eat because the food is cooked by all of you. But the minute he saw the cake, he couldn't resist. So a devotee of Krishna gets this empowerment from the Krishna sitting in heart. Do like this. Do like this. Why to give to the pangs of other person's negativity? Why? It is not in my goal book, yaar. It's not in my goal book. I'm trying to live a life so that I can remember Krishna moment to moment. And at the end, I'm going back. I am not living here anymore. I'm going back. You want to stay back? Feel free. But here, I'm giving you also a little bit of a prasadam. You taste this and you also come. So that's what a devotee of Krishna does. Now, first, So he's talking about like there's no use to read anything else other than Srimad Bhagavatam. So every house must have Srimad Bhagavatam. And then the other thing is agitation of the mind. Now, when people, two kind of sannyasis are existing in this world. I'm kidding, the word sannyasi here, but some people take to Krishna consciousness because avirodha priti. Avirodha priti means Mayavadi philosophy is based on this, that unrestricted attachment. They think Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satya. They think that this world is false and Brahman is truth. So they're very scared of this world. They don't want to eat nice foods because it is an attachment. It will bind me. They don't want to dance. No, dancing is for the people of this world, but this world is false, not in my gold book. So they are scared of this. But there are other class of people called Gyanis, Karmis, and materialistic plan makers who are Virodha Yukta Krodha, or anger arising from frustration. It's simple to understand. They do something and then they get frustrated and then they say, this world is horrible. Why is this happening to me? We hear this in corporate world a lot, right? This is horrible. This coronavirus horrible. Oh, horrible. I would rather just go to Himalayas and sit in the top of a hill there. What am I doing here in the middle of material world and suffering from these pangs? Both kind of frustrations are agitations of the bickering mind. This is what Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada is saying. Both are not true. Avirodha Priti is also not correct. Virodha Yukta Krodha is also not correct. Then what is correct? What is correct? So anger arising from frustration and unrestricted attachment in the mind is not correct. So what is correct? The function of the mind we just discussed is thinking, feeling, willing. So engage that thinking, feeling, and willing in Krishna consciousness. That is correct. Okay. Similarly, the demands of the body can be divided into 3 categories. Who would like to read? I do want to finish the chapter. I know we have less. Prerna. Hey, Prerna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. You want to read?
Yes, Mataji.
And then Roja Mataji. Hare Krishna.
From similarly?
Yes, please.
Similarly, the demands of the body can be divided into 3 categories. The demands of the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. One may observe that these 3 senses are physically situated in a straight line as far as the body is concerned, and that the bodily demands begin with the tongue. And if one can restrain the demands of the tongue by limiting its activities to eating of prasada, the urges of the belly and the genitals can automatically be controlled. In connection with this, in this connection, Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakura says, do I sing it?
Yeah, sing it. You know this.
Sharira Vidya Jal, Jodendriya Tahe Kal, Jiva Phale Vishaya Sagare, Tara Madhye Jifvati, Lobho Maya Sudurmati, Take Jeta Katina Samsare, Krishna Bada Doyo Moy, Kori Ba Rejif Vajai, Swaprasada Manna Dilo Bhai, Te Annamrita Khao, Radha Krishna Gunagao, Premedako Sri Chaitanya Nitai, Jai Nimai, Jai Nitai. O Lord, this material body is a lump of ignorance, and the senses are a network of paths leading to death. Somehow or other, we have fallen into the ocean of material sense enjoyment, and of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world, but you, dear Krishna, are very kind to us. You have sent this nice prasada to help us conquer the tongue. Therefore, let us take this prasada to our full satisfaction and glorify your lordships, Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and in love, call for the help of Lord Chaitanya and Prabhu Nityananda. There are 6 kinds of rasas, tastes, and if one is agitated by any of them, he becomes controlled by the urges of the tongue. Some persons are attached to the eating of meat, fish, crabs, eggs, and other things produced by semina and blood, and eaten in the form of dead bodies. Others are attached by eating vegetables, creepers, spinach, or milk products, but all for the satisfaction of the tongue's demands. Such eating for the sense gratification, including the use of extra quantities of spices such as chili and tamarind, is to be given up by Krishna conscious persons. The use of pan, haritaki, betel nuts, various spices used in pan making, tobacco, LSD, marijuana, opium, liquor, coffee, and tea is indulged in to fulfill illicit demands. If we can practice accepting only remnants of food offered to Krishna, it is possible to get free from Maya's victimization. Vegetables, grains, and milk products and water are proper foods to offer to the Lord, as Lord Krishna himself prescribes. However, if one accepts prasada only because of its palatable taste and thus eats too much, he also falls a prey to satisfying the demands of the tongue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us to avoid very palatable dishes even while eating prasada. If we offer palatable dishes to the deity with the intention of eating such nice food, we are involved in trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. If we accept the invitation of a rich man with the idea of receiving palatable food, we are also trying to satisfy the demands of the tongue. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya-lila, it is stated, Jivara lalase ye iti uti dhaya, shishnodara parayana Krishna nahi paya. That person who runs here and there, seeking to gratify his palate, and who is always attached to the desires of his stomach and genitals, is unable to attain Krishna. As stated before, the tongue, the belly, and genitals are all situated in a straight line, and they fall in the same category. Lord Chaitanya has said, Bhalana khaibe ara, bhalana paribe. Do not dress luxuriously and do not eat luxurious, delicious foodstuffs. Those who suffer from diseases of the stomach must be unable to control the urges of the belly, at least according to this analysis. When we desire to eat more than necessary, we automatically create many inconveniences in life. However, if we observe fasting days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami, we can restrain the demands of the belly. As far as the urges of the genitals are concerned, there are two proper and improper, or legal and illicit sex. When a man is properly mature, he can marry according to the rules and regulations of the Shastras and use his genitals for begetting nice children. That is legal and religious. Otherwise, he may adopt many artificial means to satisfy the demands of genitals, and he may not use any restraint. When one indulges in illicit sex life, as defined by the Shastras, either by thinking, planning, talking about, or actually having sexual intercourse, or by satisfying the genitals by artificial means, he is caught in the clutches of Maya. These instructions apply not only to householders but also to Tyagis, or those who are in the renounced order of life. In his book Prema Vivarta, chapter 7, Sri Jagadananda Pandita says, Vairagi bhai gramya katha na shunibe kane, gramya varta na kahibe, yabe milebe ane. It's quite big. Should I read all of that?
Yeah, we can read. Swapane o nara kare bhai sri sambhas. You want me to read or you will read?
Okay, Mother, you can read.
Swapane o nakara bhai stri sambhasana, grihe stri chadiya bhai asichaya vana. Yadi chaha pranaya rakhite gauranga nera shane, shota hari dasa shera, kathak take yena mane. Bhala na khaibe ara bhala na paribe, hridayete Radha Krishna sarvada sevibe. Okay, Prerna, my dear brother.
My dear brother, you are in the renounced order of life and should not listen to talk about ordinary worldly things. Nor should you talk about worldly things when you meet with others. Do not think of women even in dreams. You have accepted the renounced order of life with a vow that forbids you to associate with women. If you wish to associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you must always remember the incident of Chota Haridasa and how he was rejected by the Lord. Do not eat luxurious dishes or dress in fine garments, but always remain humble and serve your lordships, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, in your hearts of hearts. The conclusion, okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The conclusion is that one who can control these six items, speech, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, is to be called a Swami or Goswami. Swami means master and Goswami means master of the go or senses. When one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This does not mean that he is the master of his family, community, or society. He must be master of his senses. Unless one is master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami, but Godasa, servant of the senses. Following in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavana, all Swamis and Goswamis should fully engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. As opposed to this, the Godasas engage in the service of the senses or in the service of the material world. They have no other engagement. Prahlad Maharaja has further described the Godasa and Adantago, which refers to one whose senses are not controlled. And Adantago cannot become a servant of Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaja has said, Matirna Krishne Parata Svatova Mitobhi Padyeta Grahavartananam Adantagobhir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punas Charvita Charvananam. For those who have decided to continue their existence in this material world for the gratification of their senses, there is no chance of becoming Krishna conscious, not by personal endeavor, by instruction from others, or by joint conferences. They are dragged by unbridled senses into the darkest region of ignorance, and thus they madly engage in what is called chewing the chewed.
Thank you so much. So this concludes the first verse. Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegan, udarupastha vegan, etan vegan yo, vishaheta what? I forget. Anyway, I'm going to do the summary in the slides. It will take another 5-10 minutes. If anyone wants to leave, please feel free to leave. It's going to be 1.5 hours in another 2 minutes.